up,
Hello,
Sea
Kim.
Dog? How's it going?
Yeah, really good. How good was that last episode?
Goodness me. Very inspiring. I can't believe like the caliber of their skills of just like they have them, but like to showcase that for a competition, I was just like, whoa, the amount of effort, the amount of ideas, the design skills, the instructional design, whole package in my mind.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They did so well. It's and again, I don't know how I've done it. I have not looked at the submissions. So I'm so excited to see them. I'll probably be stumbling over my words going, "Oh, I don't know what to say." But yeah, it was great, really inspiring, and I think they're pretty happy with themselves as well. So
Sounds like, yeah, the banter, they're pretty proud, as they should be, and I'm looking forward
as
to
they
the same,
absolutely should be.
yeah, for this crew as well. Well, welcome viewers at home. Get your notepad ready and maybe your phone, actually take some snaps, because like, yeah, if you looked at the other quarterfinal, they're obviously amazing, and well, we haven't looked at them, but we shouldn't make assumptions, but the caliber of the 8 people is really high, so I'm looking forward to seeing what we get out of this episode, which is another quarterfinal. So we got 8 people left, going down to 4. Well, before we get into it, let's talk about one particular speaker that we've got at the learning conference, who is Mr. Carl Kapp. I remember Carl Kapp was probably the first ever, I think it was a lynda.com course that I did on gamification, and it was like when I was starting my career, like maybe 6 years ago or something. I was like, whoa, this shit is cray cray, and he really inspired me. So that was my first journey into Carl Kapp, and now I know that he's like this super name and doing really good stuff. But Kath, what can people expect from his session?
Oh, before I even start talking about his session, I want to tell you what an absolute idiot I made of myself at DevLearn when I met him. You know, I was this total fangirl. My knees were like going wobbly. I was like, oh god. It's Carl Kapp, I think.
Okay.
Is it Carl Kapp? No, Kopp. That's right. You pronounced it correctly.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just fantastic. So in his session, I don't want to give too much away, but he's going to be he's going to be taking people through an experience showing basically how it can easily be set up through, I believe he's going to use PowerPoint, but I may be wrong. He's going to use a couple of tools in which he's going to get audience participation. And then he's going to show some real life examples of how he's basically put this kind of solution into places in big government departments and huge corporate organizations. So I've undersold it a little bit.
Can be done in those organizations too.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're Carl, you can put it
anywhere.
Is
possible if you just believe. Yeah. All right, let's get into the show.
All right, I can't wait for you all to meet our guests. Let's go.
All right, today's special guest is Jayne Davids, and what she does is she's a Camtasia trainer and systems trainer, and also sitting on the board of the e-learning network directors. Welcome to the show, Jayne! I feel like Kath was trying to do the sound effects there, so we may have gone over them and just done like the human ones, but woo! Welcome. How's it going, Jayne?
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me. Absolutely fantastic. I'm in awe of what you ladies are doing for the industry, and it's great to be here.
We're stoked to have you. Yeah. So you're saying you've watched the other quarterfinal first up?
Yes. Oh, my goodness. I was. I'm all about preparation. Yeah. So, oh my goodness, the standard is so high, and yeah, really looking forward to seeing these next submissions.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be really cool. All right, Kath, let's introduce Oh, I got to introduce the brief. Hold on. Where is my brief?
Yeah, let me flick over.
I've got it on my phone.
That's all right. Here you go, Jayne. So this is our brief.
Sorry, people. It's late at night. I'm a bit sleepy. I forgot what I was supposed to be doing.
Oh, to be sure.
All right. We've got Suzuki here, Jayne, and for viewers at home that have not been introduced to the brief yet. Basically, Suzuki is the CEO of Hot Noodle. Woohoo! And she's looking for a bullying and harassment training. So she's identified the need to train her workers on bullying and harassment. She doesn't get many harassment complaints. They've had one in the last 12 months, but they want to encourage a positive workplace where people feel comfortable to be themselves at work. If she was to pinpoint areas that could pose a risk in their restaurants, she'd say it's around jokes between staff and comments about racial stereotypes. Well, she says they have a multicultural workforce. So their local government here in Queensland, Australia, where I am located currently, we have this one-page government website that people can access for the legislation on the topic. And she's looking for someone to basically put together a 5-minute training module. You want to use their brand, which you can see there over on the right, fonts, colors, they got the logo, it's looking pretty cool. The technology and information required is that it must be a digital solution that can be used on mobile and desktop computers. They have 26 restaurants across the state here in Queensland. They have a manager with about 10 to 15 employees, depending on the size of the restaurant. It's fast-paced, generally university students. They have a budget of 15,000 Australian dollars. They've been asked to put together a 3-minute pitch video to share their ideas, where they're sharing why they chose their solution, why they recommend this approach, and their choice of tool, and why that meets Suzuki's needs. Now, for viewers at home, you will be able to check out the Miller Note and read it in detail. We also recommend you go check out the other video, because you're going to vote on the top 4 out of all of the quarterfinals. The voting criteria that you must be considering are: does it meet the brief? How do you rate the instructional design approach? How do you rate the visual design? And can it be achieved within the budget? Dun, dun, dun. Let's have a look at the first submission.
All right. Man, that was a very serious introduction. Let's do it. Okay, so our first cab off the ranks is Stephanie. And unfortunately, Stephanie did not submit this. I know. And we're not quite sure why, but we'll just move on to the next contestant, okay? So Stephanie was the only one who didn't submit. She's obviously had something that's happened. Anyway, yeah, we'll move over to our
Stephanie,
next participant.
For being part of it, because you've been brilliant and very consistent.
Stephanie, you have been solid. Absolutely brilliant. So, going to introduce you, Jayne, to Tom. He's a learning geek at Evolve Learning Design. So let's see what Tom has submitted.
Based learning is the idea that it's seen as a tick box exercise. Something a business does to cover itself in the event something goes horribly wrong. Say Noodles to Bullying is all about changing not only everyone's view of bullying in the workplace, how they can stop it and their role in making sure it doesn't happen in the first place, but also their view of what learning within the workplace can be. The core of this intervention is a 5-minute storyline interaction hosted on your existing LMS. The first minute is all about understanding what they already know and challenging any opinions they may have that aren't actually correct. They'll have a minute to sort different scenarios into what is and is not workplace bullying with feedback after each one. This gives us an excellent baseline in terms of reporting around the current level of understanding, but also introduce desirable challenge for the learner to make them start to change their view. We then follow that up with the core learning. We follow it up with an animated music video, a custom song all about workplace bullying, utilizing humor, funny anecdotes, and most importantly, brand-related cartoon characters. Eggs, soy sauce bottles, takeaway containers, things that remove as much as possible the idea that these things are human beings. Whilst we're talking about important issues, it's also really important to acknowledge that many people may have experienced these exact problems previously in their life. Using cartoon characters and personas allows us to safely discuss the issue using humour to soften, but also address the core issue. This music video is followed up by another rapid-fire 2-minute quiz on very highly contextualised scenarios to your workplace. The learner will have to identify if there is workplace bullying occurring and what, if any, intervention would be suitable. This gives you an excellent reporting standard, not only to show that they've passed a quiz at the end of the course, but what's changed since the initial assessment. The idea of using the video is to create a background campaign, something your learners will laugh at, enjoy, learn from, and then want to share and talk about with their colleagues. Included in this approach is an entire campaign pack, posters, screensavers, things to keep this message always going in the background, all based around the idea of small daily nudges. The video, standalone audio file, and resources can be hosted on your internal media pages, which can then be shared with staff and attached to a Google Analytics page, providing even more reporting. This solution not only gives you excessive reporting for compliance standards, but also ensures your learners get the most out of the content.
Wow. So much detail. He's thought about so many different elements. He's mentioned the branding in there. I love the fact that he's done the constant messaging, so there's going to be some reminders in different locations. Yeah, and I like the fact that he's added humour, quite a difficult topic to involve humour. So I'd be really interested to see the whole thing, how it works. But,
well, if I got you the lyrics, would you mind giving the little jingle a sing along?
Maybe not. Yeah.
No, it's cool. I think, yeah, it's quite unique, isn't it?
Yeah. And the colours are there, and yeah, no, I like the idea of the characters.
Yeah. I think it is quite cool. Well, I wonder, there's probably some psychology around, you know, a topic of this kind and personifying or putting characters to other utensils, such as the little, I'm going to assume that's like an egg, and, you know, the cooking pot and the takeaway. And how does that implicate how people care about safety when they're not seeing it as a human? Someone will probably jump in the comments and let us know, but I don't know, do you know anything about that?
I don't. This is all quite new to me, actually, this concept.
Yeah, I think it's adorable. I mean, we've kind of seen in Australia Dumb Ways to Die. I don't know if you ever saw that, Jayne. There were little beans that were actually part of it was something in Melbourne. It was Metro Trains that wanted an initiative to railway safety, and you know, there were dumb ways to die. I'm a very bad singer, and I've got a very bad.
Hopefully, the audio is cut out there for the viewers at home. But
record scratch. But basically, Dumb Ways to Die was very successful, especially with a younger cohort. And with this being such a young cohort, I can see it being, you know, something that was, you know, taken on board and embraced, and the way Metro Trains then used it for other messages. So, you know, the way that he's talking about is coming with a whole media pack, and you can use the media pack for other things. I think that's really interesting. I don't know about the psychology, though, of how people feel, but certainly I know it's really challenging for me to sometimes, when you're working on something like bullying or harassment or topics like this, to then choose what persona is the one that is the bully and isn't the bully. And you know, so doing it this way, it's not offensive at all. It's very, it's a very cute way of doing things, and I think it's still in line with Hot Noodle's branding. So I really like the idea of it.
Yeah, I think it's a lovely idea, Tom, because what I like about it is, everyone's done bullying and harassment. If you've ever had a job, you've done this training. Traditionally, it's so boring, and you immediately shut off. So what you need to do for such an important piece of training, because of the implications of the consequences with this, is you need to capture attention. And I think you've done that really well, and that way the learning will happen really well. And it just reminds me of, the air safety when you're sitting on the airplane. Air New Zealand are brilliant at it.
They bring so
humor into how to put on your oxygen mask and how to evacuate a plane if there is the need to do it. They've done that really well for something that every time you get on a plane, you tune out and you don't listen to. So I think you're doing the right switch for people to make them pay attention for a topic that they're probably fatigued or don't really have the motivation behind. So that's quite cool.
And I recently saw a really great example of e-learning, which was called What Would Barry Do? And it was a Barry White impersonator who did a health and safety course for Channel 4 in the UK. And if you haven't seen it, guys, oh my God, go and just search What Would Barry Do? Channel 4. It's so funny. But I'm saying it's so funny. It's still a serious topic, but when you've got a topic that everyone knows, you can lighten it up a little bit. So brilliant job. Brilliant job, Tom.
It was really good fun.
Yeah, it's captured the brand well. That looks like a drag and drop to me, and they're using the bowl with the labels from the logo to drag and drop whatever it might be. I think that's smart use of branding. And what I love about as well, an animation script has so much good content in it that can be repurposed. And that's what Tom's identified, getting the animation script and then just chopping it up for the different mediums, posters, Yammer posts, Facebook posts. It's quite easy to repurpose your content. So I like it.
I like it too.
Would you like it 3, Jayne?
That makes 3 likes.
That makes 3 likes. Awesome work. Awesome work. Let's see our next participant, and that is Rekha, and she is an e-learning developer at Nutanix. So let's have a look at what Rekha has submitted.
Hello Suzuki, I'm Rekha, an instructional designer from India. First of all, I would like to thank you for the opportunity. It was indeed a great pleasure to work on this particular design. Now let's get started with the solution. The solution I've chosen is a micro-learning. It is a story-based e-learning module. The e-learning is followed by a gamification-based assessment that's fun, engaging, and interactive to the learner. The story is around a person working at Hot Noodle and how he overcame workplace bullying. Let me show you a demo of how this is being implemented. The video starts off with an introduction by the CEO.
Hello fellow employees, I'm Suzuki, the CEO of Hot Noodle. I'm working here. Important human principles we remind each of us a full work.
This is the person who introduced himself as a person working at Hot Noodle.
Part-time at Hot Noodle. Let me share with you for example, the other day.
This is the example he shares. So he shares various incidents that occur to him and help learners differentiate between a bullying and a non-bullying behavior. Let's take a look at a couple of examples that I've shown in the demo.
Not prepare the orders in time, and this is how my lead responded. You are late by 2 minutes. Have you lost your mind, you idiot? Bullying can even be as simple as this. Good morning, Sam. Stay out of my way, you loser.
Hey, I won Employee of the Year.
That's great. Let's celebrate this together at lunch. But don't invite you know who.
So like this, he shares various incidents. He also shares how to seek help in case an employee finds himself in a similar situation. So this entire video is followed by a game, which is an assessment sort of a gamification approach. The game I've chosen is a very similar classic game that's pretty common at restaurants, which is called Find Waldo. Similarly here, the learner has to identify various incidents in the infographic that pertains to bullying. So for example, the learner identifies this particular image. When he selects, he is presented with a scenario. The learner has to select what is the action that the person has to take, and when you submit, he's been given a response. Similarly, he finds another incident. So this is probably a situation which is not a bullying environment. So in case the learner identifies this as a harassment, then a feedback is given that you have not selected the correct response. The incident has no signs of bullying, harassment, or discrimination. We can also enhance this by adding a link to the video where the learner can go back and learn what the particular incident was and how to understand a bullying and a non-bullying environment. It's not just completely about bullying. We can also add incidents which are similar to sexual harassment, discrimination, and other things that were covered in the source content that you've provided. So this is the complete solution. I hope you liked it, and I hope it meets all the requirements that you had in your mind. Thank you.
All right, guys. So what did you think of Rekha's solution?
I'm so impressed.
Lots of thought that's gone through it, hey?
Yeah. The effort that she's gone into in her like demo there is incredible. The little voiceovers, like she's obviously pulled in some friends to help, so you're gonna have to share your prize if you win. But I just think like, wow, I'm just really impressed of the effort that's gone in. I've definitely created multiple solutions based on that web page that's in here, and it's very similar to solutions that we've created for clients. I think it covers a lot of the main things. You know, the one thing I love is that character talking from their perspective, like the thought in their head, or this happened to me, because I think that can be almost like a companion for people that are going through the training. And I love that. And I love that she's focused on the small behaviors that are actually bullying, because that legislation is around repeated behaviors that happen more than once that are not okay with someone else. And in this instance, those little things like just excluding someone from lunch and that, they seem so small, but they're what leads to the big issues that organizations face. So I think really well interpretation of the content, definitely. And I think it looks so cool. I love the stories. Jayne?
Hello.
Yeah, brilliant. It's the effort that goes into these, absolutely incredible. I'm with you on the voices. Yeah, I mean, they've put a lot of effort into this and really a lot of thought, and that's clear. I really like the intro from Suzuki. Yeah. I like that. And I thought the real examples were really credible examples, real examples, and it really connected. So it really sort of drew out some emotion watching those and sort of cringing at hearing them say it. And I also really like the fact that they offered where to get help. Has this happened to you? So some support there as well. So brilliant. It's incredible what everyone's creating. So well done.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. So I love storytelling. So the idea that there's all these scenarios that the learner basically goes on a journey through the course and goes through these scenarios. Again, the level of work that you put into this, Rekha, is just fantastic. I love the intro. So storyline, great. Good intro, came into it. I like you've got your little assessments. So overall, I think it's a really solid solution. And great.
Well done. Very inspirational, these episodes.
Very inspirational. This is a lot of work that's gone into this, so well done. Now, our final participant is Jayashree. And Jayashree is a senior learning designer at Grid Synergy in Singapore. So let's see what Jayashree has submitted.
So I've made use of articulate storyline. So I think many learning designers will agree that Articulate Storyline is one of the best tool for to create courses in a short period of time. The UI and the amount of customization that could be done using Articulate is enormous. You can create customized courses in few weeks time, and you can, because the client wants a SCORM package. So I think one of the easiest way to develop a SCORM package is to make use of Articulate Storyline. Okay, and the instructional strategy that I've made use of is Gagne's nine events of instructions. Okay, let's go to my slides. So according to the first step of Gagne's strategy is you have to gain your learner's attention. So it could be in the form of a video. So here I've made use of an existing animation video.
Hi, it's Hoa. I'm back again. I have something really important to talk about. It's a subject we rarely discuss because it can make us feel uncomfortable. Sexual harassment at the workplace.
So once you've gained your learner's attention, what's next? So it is important for your learners to know that what they're expecting from this learning. So like it gives them a overall picture of what they will be seeing in this module, because it could possibly be a learning objective slide, something like this. So I'm going to frame my objectives based on Hot Noodle's policies and procedures. So I'm going to let them know that this is applicable for all the senior leaders and custodians under Hot Noodle's workplace. So the next step, according to the Gagne's 9 events, is to stimulate what they already know, because when you activate the recalling, they are able to connect the dots to new information. So you have to know what they already know. It could be like something like a did you know slide, where you give them an information and they can tap on, okay, I've read something about verbal assessment, harassment, I've read about physical bullying, so all that will be able to relate it. So the next step is like presenting the learning content. So it could be like you're going to use some videos or activities or anything. For example, I have an activity here. Is a click and flip to know the terminologies. So like if I want to know what is repeated behavior, I click and there's this activity which I've made use of. So the main step here is to do the actual teaching. Okay, you're just providing guidance for the learning here. And because once you give the content to the learners, it is important for the learners to practice. So the practice could be in a form of, like questions to ponder, or, or case studies that they can relate to, because when you give real-time examples, they'll be able to relate it well. So I think when you develop a learning experience, it is important for the learners to be able to relate to the real time. So I have some 5 quiz questions here, because it is important for your learners. You've presented your content, you've done everything. So it's the time for learners to practice. So it could be like a quiz or anything. So I've made use of quiz here, just 5 questions. Let me go through quickly. So I think what is important here is they get the timely feedback, as in, like then and there they see the feedback. So my feedback gives them, no, your answer is wrong, you have to try again. So because when we write personalized feedbacks like that, it retains their attention. So once we have to assess the performance. So the client has an LMS through which we assess their performance, through the answers and all that. So because assessments are the formal way, like how we test the learners to recall things. It could be like pop-up quiz that I showed you and all that. So the last step is to enhance the retention and transfer. So you can provide external resources that they can learn outside of this 5 minutes module. So the learning experience doesn't end with this five minutes of training. They go and they can research on this topic well, because when you allow flexible learning opportunities, and they'll be able to read such resources, and they'll be able to have the real world situations. And yes, so finally I've summarized them to be just one liner, because it is important to summarize whatever they have learned. So even though this is the 5 minutes module, it's a very, very important module for the training industry. If you see, like, everyone teaches about all this. So I finished. I didn't use the common bulleted summary page because I think this one liner brings everything together. Okay, I think I'm done. I hope you guys like my presentation. Thank you again. Best of luck, everyone else.
All right. So
What do you
there's
think,
Jayashree.
Wow, I'm really blown away by all these submissions. My goodness. Just the imagination, the thought that's gone into each element. I think the thing that grabbed me, I love the colour. It was bright, it was clear. I really like the music. It really sort of grabbed emotion as well. Drew me in to want to take the course and find out more. I really like the case studies, making it real. And I'm almost lost for words. I'm quite overwhelmed with it. Again, I like the external resources, so the learning doesn't finish just after that 5 minutes. So important. So some clear guidance of where you can go get additional information. Yeah, I really like the definitions as well. So if you were unclear about, well, what does that actually mean? I really like that, it was just an easy click and she thought about that. So brilliant.
Yeah. Kath, your reaction?
Yeah, I really like Jayashree's page layouts. They're really simple and they are very effective, using the color scheme very well. I like the layout of her. So, for example, these slides that are on the screen, I really like the formatting, and the characters were really cute. Everything looked great. But the one thing that I really liked from Jayashree's solution was, even though I don't normally like to get too theoretical with clients, she did talk about those 9 steps of instruction, and it sort of, it did validate the reason that she took the approach that she did. And she didn't overly complicate her explanation. She made it very simple for the client. So if this was speaking directly to Suzuki, I'm forgetting her name, Suzuki would, be able to follow that and be able to validate it. Or there was thought that went behind this, and this is the reason that this approach has been put in place. So I really liked it.
I agree. I think, Suzuki's not going to understand that language, the theoretical stuff, even it goes over my head, but it was communicated quite effectively. And I think what that does for people is it really demonstrates the value and the amount of work that goes behind training, that it's not just slapping some PowerPoint slides together, that there is more thought, there's more, there's psychology behind it, there's reasons behind why you do things certain ways. And I think what you would see from this submission from Jayashree and how she's explained it is exactly how to do that with clients. The right level of theory and the right level of demonstrating the value and why we are experts. We're not just someone that can type up content that exists on the internet. So I think that's really well done. And I think there was cool FAQs in there, like what I might be thinking this as a learner. What's the answer to that question? So it's done in a way where you're not, scared to ask the question of your boss, or scared to look it up on the internet because what if they're tracking what I'm looking up? Does that make me a bad person? So I think it's a safe place for them to ask the question they might have in their mind. And I think also Jayashree demonstrates like the simple effectiveness of moving away from the default buttons within your tools, and putting in, even the feedback was a little bit customized. We saw the difference between Rekha's and Jayashree's, where they've got the gray, which is the default articulate, to a little bit of a themed one going on here, and those custom buttons. And I just think you can forget that you're almost in an e-learning tool or an e-learning experience. It becomes more like a web experience. So I encourage people to explore how to do that simple thing. But very, very well done by all 3. this quarterfinal is just next level, honestly. Get our faces on. We need to have a reaction in real life here. Well, before we get our faces on, if you want me to tell people to vote. No, okay, I need to, because we did this last time. We stopped recording and then we were like, holy moly. So let's get a reaction from you guys of what you've just seen. Like, let's overall perspective. Kath?
Yeah, just really great examples of work, and I like the different approaches that we've seen. So there's 7 solutions that we've seen, whole variety of different authoring tools. We've seen some people use other tools to support their solution, and we've had people use marketing to support their solution as well. And then some people have used theirs as a standalone because it maybe is more of a just-in-time training where people can go in and find the resources as they need to. So just overall, I think they've looked great. I think the solutions have all been very well thought out. And I think if I was in Suzuki's shoes and was, reviewing all of these solutions, I'd probably have a very difficult time with it, choosing which solution I wanted to go with. So
you want to delegate that task.
Yeah, you can do that. So yeah, really good solutions. I don't see that any have been standout not meeting the brief. I think that they I don't want to go there. This is why you guys do the voting. But I think that certainly I don't see any major errors with the solutions that have been put up. I think that they've all done a great job.
Yeah, we can definitely tell that you're applying the feedback that you're getting. We're seeing the evolution through each of them, which is really cool. Makes us proud because the whole intent is for people to learn. So that's really awesome. So well done. Jayne, what's your overall reaction with what you've seen today?
Oh, incredible. I'd like to applaud everybody, all the submissions, fantastic, because you're giving so many people new learning experiences. We're learning from you. So brilliant. Thank you so much for taking part. I think I'm very impressed and totally inspired.
Definitely. I think the people that are watching, because you have submitted, you should be very, very proud of what you've created. The effort that you've put in has just blown us away, but it will blow. You're seeing our reaction, but there's people at home that are just going to be like, oh my God. So commend yourselves and be proud, because it goes beyond your own personal learning journey and everyone else's learning as well. I'm like, I don't even know who's going to come through to the semi-final, but great round, really great round.
Yeah, absolutely. And make sure that you are going to the other video. If this is the first video that you're seeing, make sure you go and see episode 15. Watch as much as you can. We've put the chapters in so you can scroll through. And if you don't want to hear us and just want to look at the solutions, you also can jump to the Miller Note and you'll see the videos and you'll see the PDF. So you can completely cut our waffle out if you want to. But
if you want humor, I encourage you to watch it in double speed, and that's what I do when I have to check it, because we're like chipmunks and it is absolutely hilarious. So when I watch myself back in normal speed, I'm like, oh my God, you talk so slow, Kim, hurry up. So
I actually sound normal.
And you should watch it because it's Mike Taylor and he's absolutely amazing, isn't he?
Oh yes,
no, you should definitely see.
Well, you were
Jayne?
Amazing. Yeah. Jayne, thank you so much for being part of today. We really appreciate your perspective and for sharing the value that you did on this episode.
Oh, it's been amazing, and I feel truly honoured to be able to view them. So thank you so much. Brilliant.
Cool. Well, people, for voting, link in the description of the video. Get your favorite top 4 from the 8, well, 7 you got to decide. So, but thank you for watching. If you think this will add value to anyone's life and inspire them to create awesome solutions, you should share this video with them. Have an awesome day.
Bye.